Las Vegas Sportsline is owned and produced by Vegas Sportsline, LLC. All opinions expressed by the hosts or guests are their own and are not endorsed by either radio station management or any of its advertisers.
It's the Las Vegas Sportsline, presented by CG Technology Sportsbook. Here's your hosts, Dave Cokin and Matt Yeomans.
Okay, here we go with the Thursday edition of the Las Vegas Sportsline. I'm Dave Cokin. No, Matt Yeomans hasn't been the co-host of the show for quite some time now. You need to get with the guys and get those open straight, okay? Ralph Michaels is here from Wager Talk, and I'm Dave Cokin. We're putting the finishing touches on a blowout in the Independence Bowl. Duke, which trailed at one time 27-14, well, they now lead 56-27 with about 3 minutes to go, and who knows, they might be adding some more points here as they're driving once again against the Temple Owls. This did not fall into the classification of 6-6 teams that win their way in. We'll talk about that in a moment. Just a couple of notes in this game, though. If you want a sell sign, there was a major sell sign posted, and this is why you have to be on Twitter if you're betting games. When I hear people say they bet on games and they're not on Twitter, it's like, what are you thinking of? Because about a half an hour before this game kicked off, the announcement from the Temple beat writer comes down that Armstead, who is their most dynamic player by quite a bit, is not going to play. Their best defensive back is not going to play. That was a major sell sign because neither guy is hurt. It was for precautionary measures because they're both NFL draft pick possibilities who are going to be playing in a couple of weeks in the Senior Bowl. Ralph, that's a team that at that point, I'm saying this team doesn't care about this football game. And I was on Temple and bought out completely, so I got out of the game. I'm happy. Didn't matter to you. You had Duke.
Yeah, Dave, we're going to see more and more of it. I just saw that the Georgia cornerback opted out now, and you really have to be tuned in. And, a game like this is motivation. And, you don't know how these Temple kids react to to an interim head coach, and those questions were out there already. And, when all of a sudden your top player on offense and your top player, you have two players that may be playing in the NFL and both opt out, and all of a sudden, what does that say for the younger kids?
Yeah, and when it's two NFL guys coming out of Temple, if it's Alabama, you've got some quality depth there. But you take two NFL guys out of the lineup at Temple, it's going to have an impact, and it did. The Georgia news is big, and by the way, there's a team that we already were looking at as one that you seriously have to question what motivation they're going to have to be playing Texas. They're in the playoffs. If they make a field goal and go up 17 on Alabama, they're in the playoffs. And instead, they're not.
Yeah. They have two out. They're up by a couple scores. They knock out the quarterback, and they're there. They have this game in control.
Yeah. How are they going to get up for this game against Texas? They're not.
I have the same questions with Michigan. Michigan has been there, done that as well.
And they're missing a bunch of guys. I think Michigan's got several players out for their game. I think and this is why you handicap bowls differently than you do in the regular season, because I know Michigan, assuming motivation's the same and having full rosters, Michigan's better than Florida, and Georgia's better than Texas by decent margins. But you factor in these intangibles. And to me, if you're not playing Florida and Texas, there's a good chance you're on the wrong sides.
Add in, you got a defensive dog that's motivated with hungry young coaches that took over programs that were losing programs a couple years ago, not mediocre programs. Florida was, 4-7 last year? To get there and now be playing Michigan in this type of bowl, they're ecstatic. Yes.
They're really excited. Another one tomorrow, by the way. Iowa State and Washington State. We'll talk more about this later on. But I just got off the horn with the radio show that I do in Iowa every Thursday. And they're talking about Cyclone fans have descended upon San Antonio. They are there in force.
14,000, I believe, so far. 14,000 tickets.
They not only sold out their allotment, they're buying up the other team's allotment.
And let's see, who's that other guy on the coat? Mike Leach. I think Mike Leach is now 1-7 his last 8 bowl games.
Plus the fact, talk for a minute while I pick up this phone call.
You add in a coach like Campbell who they know they're going to have him another year. He's absolutely ecstatic. And you have Mike Leach. Mike Leach, I believe, is 3-8 as a favorite in bowl games, 1-7 his last 8, and an Iowa State team that has absolutely played 4 top 20 offenses: Oklahoma, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State. Not only have they covered all 4 of those, they won 3 of them outright. So I'm with you again with Iowa State. You have a defensive team that, it to me, is just the better team in the bowl game.
Right. And I don't know what else you said, but there's nothing positive here on the Washington State side. And by the way, the Pac-12's 2-14 in their last 16 bowl games. Anyway, before we get to the 4-4, I want to touch on this because you mentioned this going into the bowls. And this is to take a look at teams that win their way into bowl eligibility. In other words, get to 6-6 with a win, particularly if they're underdogs in the bowl game. So far, so good.
Yeah, even this is since 2008.
Right.
Teams that are 6-6 and won their season finale to get there, 40-21, 65.6%. 4-0 this year, with 2 more situations being Purdue and Virginia Tech. We have the Baylor game, which those 2 cancel each other out.
The Purdue game. Can you imagine a team more motivated? I don't know if they're going to beat Auburn because Auburn's
got a huge crowd too.
Auburn's also going to be fired up for this game. I mean, they really are. But you've got Tyler Trent flying to this bowl game in Irsay's jet.
Yeah.
And if you don't know who Tyler Trent is, look him up. I mean, you should know who he is.
If you watch the Ohio State game, you know
they're going to be over the top, and it's one where my numbers say Auburn, and it's like, no, I don't want Auburn. Anyway, let's look at some action that will be taking place tonight. We're going to look at, actually, we'll get to this one really quickly because we've got a football game kicking off in about 10 minutes. So let's get to our MJ Christensen 4 at 4.
1, 2, 3 into the 4.
Put them 4s up. Put the 4s up, I said. Do it right now.
Tonight's action is just around the bend, and the guys want to get your night off to a great start.
4.
It's the Las Vegas Sports Line's 4 at 4.
Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4. Unbelievable.
All right, here we go. Miami and Wisconsin is just in a few minutes, so we'll see if we can give you some good advice on this football game or no advice, as that game will be in New York City. And Miami gets a little bit of a break in that it's not particularly cold, which could have been a real negative factor for them, but the weather is acceptable for this football game. Good luck on this one for me. I guess if I had to play it, I'd take Wisconsin because I question Miami's motivation, and they've got a mess at quarterback where the starters got off the field issues, and now they're going to Rozier, who's not very good, and then Wisconsin's quarterback's out, but he's not very good to begin with. This is kind of a screwy game.
Wisconsin doesn't need a quarterback. Miami does.
Yeah, really.
You know, and that's why Wisconsin's 4-0 or 5-0 bowl games their last 5. I'll tell you what, when you have the O-line they do and you run between the tackles, practices, you don't worry about not having your timing down between a quarterback and your running backs. That's why Wisconsin's productive in bowl games. They run between tackles. They get the job done. Not one of my top bowl plays. Nowhere near it. I would lean Wisconsin. That's
where I am, and it did not make my card. Don't have to play them all. I don't like this Wisconsin team. I mean, for all the things you just said, and I know believe me, I'm not a subscriber to the last thing you saw mentality, but they were so bad against Minnesota. I mean, they were really, really bad in that football game. You know, and I just don't know how ready they are to play either.
To think at the start of the year, these 2 teams were probably favored in their division. Wisconsin was clearly the favorite.
And the thing
Miami may have been close. Maybe they were right behind or tied with Florida State in the ACC division.
And I don't know that it was a fluke with Wisconsin because they also lost at home to BYU.
Yeah.
They've had some bad games.
They got outmanned against BYU.
Yeah.
Man-to-man lined up and got outplayed.
Miami, no interest in that side at all.
Nope.
Let's move to the NBA. Celtics, they're on a winning streak, and they will take on the Rockets, and they're starting to play some good ball. This is a good matchup tonight.
Yeah, you know, I like the I like the Rockets. 7-1 their last 8. You know, you have Harden got 41 points. Celtics off that Christmas Day overtime win against Boston. Celtics aren't a dog, but they are 2-8, Dave, as a dog their last 10 on the road like this. There are 3 road games this month. Were Chicago, Washington, and Detroit. They were favored in all of them. So this is the first team they've gone on the road that can challenge them. They're under 500 ATS. I like Houston.
The Lakers and Kings, And LeBron James will not be playing this game. In fact, he won't be playing the next several games for the Lakers. The Lakers are not stupid. They're going to be very cautious with James. I think he sits, I'm going to say, at least 6 or 7 games.
Yeah, a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Agreed.
No reason whatsoever to bring him back and take any chances that he could re-injure himself and be out for an extended period. So their journey without LeBron begins tonight. And it begins against Sacramento, which is, well, anybody who's not the Phoenix Suns is capable of winning, I guess, the Western Conference. But this could be one of those situations where the Lakers, especially in the first game without LeBron, make a really big effort.
Yeah, but, I think that the effort came in keeping the lead against Golden State without him in the second half. So, to me, I'm lining up to play against them. You have Kuzma, who's 18 points a game, Ingram, who's 17, but now those players are in new roles. Those players lived off LeBron. Kings are 5-5 their last 10. I think there's value playing on them.
And Vanderbilt and Baylor is the other bowl game tonight, and we could take a look at that one as well. This is a no play for me, and actually almost a no thought for me. I think Vanderbilt's a slightly better football team, but we've got Baylor fitting that 6-6 angle, which keeps on winning. And, Matt Rule is a pretty good football coach and might find a way to get it done. One thing to keep in mind, though, Baylor's best offensive player is out. And this isn't an absence due to getting prepared for the NFL. He had to have surgery. Yeah. And that's a big loss to their offense there. I don't like the idea of the game being in Brewers' hands particularly, so I stayed out of this. I also think the SEC might just be, it might just be one of those situations where a decent SEC team is better than decent Big 12 team. If I had to bet it, if I absolutely had to bet it, I think I'd take Baylor, but I don't have to bet it, and I'm not.
I am absolutely with you. I don't like a side. I'll tell you what. Baylor did not beat a winning team this year, but I like those teams that go from 1 to 11 to make the progress to get
excited
there with a coach. So,
and Vanderbilt, by the way, also is a 6-6 team.
7-5.
Oh no, that's right, 7-5. They clinched before that last game. You're right.
Interesting note: teams that go into bowl games having covered 5 straight, like Vanderbilt. You would think they're a red hot team.
It's got to be the other way.
31-46 against the spread, 40.3%. But again, red zone offenses is number 121 and 124. I see a lower scoring game.
Let's go to Jason Simbal. We do this every Thursday with the main man from CG Sportsbooks. And we've got an exciting announcement to tell you about today, which we're going to get. We're not going to hold off on this. I mean, this is good stuff for sports bettors as far as these football games are concerned. It's a money saver, Jason.
Yeah, so, as we talked about a little bit before the holiday, we have a brand new app you can use and download. It's called CG Sportsbooks in the App Store. If you come into one of our books, you can sign up for it. So on top of that, we're going to be offering minus 108 on the spread of all the football games this weekend, college and pro. So that would be cool. That's for counter bets as well, not just the app.
Nice.
That certainly should be a good incentive for you to come down and sign up.
Well, I mean, that's if you're betting a few $100s a game, and obviously you want to win them, but you're not going to win them all. Nobody does. So it's basically you're just giving away a little 1%. Free money there. Yeah,
1% of your bet.
Yeah. That's a nice little rebate, if you will. So take advantage of that at CG Sportsbooks. The whole process takes like 10 minutes. You go into whatever sportsbook you want under the CG umbrella. They're all over town, and you're good to go.
Yeah, exactly. It takes about 5-10 minutes, as you said. You could sign up and then bet from anywhere. The other thing, too, that's cool about it is in terms of, like, parlays. So if you're going to parlay 4 NFL teams, for example, the calculation on what you're going to be paid out is going to be based off of minus 108, not minus 110. So, you'll end up getting, somewhere like over 12 to 1 on a 4-teamer. I don't know the exact math off the top of my head, but it's going to be a lot better than the normal payout. So that will come back and help you as well.
Jason, we're going to have so many people in town for New Year's. Why don't you reiterate out-of-towners can sign up as well? I mean, it's as easy as making one bet. You're from California. You're coming in for a huge football weekend. You get the app. You make one bet by loading it up. You make your bets. You cash out. And even if you're leaving town, you can open that app and save all that time.
Yeah, and to kind of piggyback on that. If you don't have time to do a withdrawal, for example, at the sports book, we have a form you can fill out and we'll send you a check back. So it's very easy, it's very convenient, and you don't even, once you show up to sign up, like I said before, you don't even need to show up ever again because we can send you your winnings via check, so it's super easy and fun for out-of-towners as well.
Good stuff. Makes it more fun, makes it more convenient. Let's get to the games, and we might as well mention this first game that's kicking off in a few minutes between Miami